Regional Qualifier Utrecht was a kind of nightmare scenario for Irelia. We only had 6 Irelia players placed in the top 64. I was there personally. I got 88th with a 9-3-1 record. The best of Irelia getting 10-2-1. So relatively close. But the reason it was so difficult for all Irelia players during this tournament is because of the rise of Master Yi. That deck is just absurd, and it's one of our absolute worst matchups. It might be worse than playing against Aurora, if I'm being totally honest. Probably not, but it's pretty close. Like, if we look at the win rates for Irelia in this tournament, it is kind of catastrophic. But as always, Aurelia's main strength is that she's generally just very, very good into the wide variety of decks you can hit. So the jungle, so to say, is very, very favored for you. But if you look at the top decks, the top matchups, Master Yi, 37% win rate is just a disaster. And yeah, I mean, there's obviously less Sivir, but 50% win rate into Sivir, 42% into Diana, which is kind of crazy, but I would say the matchup is like close to 50-50. These numbers are not really representative of how the matchups go at a top level. This is more of like what happened during the tournament. So it was kind of a disaster all around. I'd say the Dyna matchup's like 50-50, if not slightly favored for Irelia. I'd say the Master Yi matchup is like 60-40 for them, and Sivir is like 45% win rate for us, so 55 for them. I guess it could be 55. I'm not sure yet, but I keep getting wrecked by Aurora because they always have Aurora on curve turn 3. So yeah, 6 Irelia players in top 64. I mean, 20 Master Yis, just absurd. And here was the list I brought. And do I regret some of the card choices? Not really. No, I think this list is really, really solid. It's just a very clean list with, a bunch of 3-ofs, a few 2-ofs, like very powerful cards like the Vex Cheerless. Big fan of this card. I kind of use this as a 2nd/3rd Irelia, but not necessarily. It's kind of like if Irelia dies, you can actually win the game with a Vex, but it's more so to like complement the Irelia and just have a unit that you can kind of slam onto a battlefield and kind of lock them from accelerating, readying stuff. So just really, really good unit. It's been fantastic over the course of the weekend. My last minute decision to swap Adaptatron back into the sideboard and bring the Vex, a second Vex into the main deck was really, really clutch. I kind of figured without stack deck that having one Adaptatron in the main was kind of nonsense. Like, if I face Aurora, I'm not going to face that many Aurora to begin with, and when I do, I'd have to find it. And then in other matchups, I don't want to find it. So the majority of the time, I just don't want to have Adaptatron in my main deck. So that really just worked out really well. And obviously, I was not expecting that many Master Yis. So if I had to make any changes, I would probably add some more tech for Master Yi. I'd probably cut a Gust and put like a Switcheroo in the main deck, actually. I might even... I don't know, it's kind of tough to find space, but I'm thinking about second Edge of Night, a card that I think is really, really impactful into Master Yi. I'm also thinking about swapping a GA for another Zanya. So the reason that's better into Master Yi is because they have Akshan. And Akshan stealing your GA is an absolute disaster. Like, it is so crazy how bad that situation is for you. Whereas you hiding the Zanyas makes it so you get guaranteed value out of it as long as, Irelia is on the field. You can't really do like the Scuttle Crab trick against them. I mean, you can, but it's risky because then they can steal the Zanyas with Akshan. Like, if you have Scuttle Crab at a battlefield, you can hide the Zanyas, and then when the Scuttle Crab dies, you react to the Death Knell with Zanyas, so it doesn't proc off the Scuttle Crab. That's something you can do in a bunch of matchups, except for ones where Akshan exists, I guess. Or Rake. Or any non-action speed gear removal. But yeah, let's start with the battlefields, because this is where I made a very, very impactful decision for my tournament run. And that is Rockfall Path. I'll go into my tournament run after I go over my list. And we'll go over some of the top lists as well. So Rockfall Path is the replacement to Sunken Temple. Sunken Temple is the draw battlefield that a lot of people use, going second. And the main issue I have with that battlefield is that when you're going second, A lot of decks are playing Arena's Greatest. I think that was the most popular battlefield. I think 40% if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, you do not have the energy, the resources to pay the 1. Trust me on this. With this deck, we are starting from behind because we're not that fast of a deck. We need to protect Irelia, and every energy counts. Really, really important to not spend the energy to draw a card. I mean, in some situations when you're ahead, which is not going to happen often when you're going second, you can afford to draw 1. Sometimes in desperation, you might draw 1 as well, just to find an answer. But most of the time, you already have cards that you want to play, and you just can't pay the 1 to draw a card. So, and the flip side of that as well is that other decks, since they're going first, they actually can afford to spend the 1. A lot of decks that are playing like Rengar, for example, or even Diana, they have the 1 to spare. Specifically like Rengar decks, like, I don't know, like just Rengar period or Kha'Zix or stuff like that. They might have a moment in their curve where they, don't have much to play because they don't have that many spells. They mostly have units, and they can easily just spare the 1 to draw a card. Specifically, Diana loves Sunken Temple. Trust me on that. I've played a lot against it, and they draw more often than I do with it. So the theory was I wanted a battlefield that would help me against E because I played a lot against E and I was getting dominated. So I was like, what can we possibly do? And then this battlefield kind of popped into my mind as a really brutal counter to Rengar. And this actually worked out. So my theory was that it would allow me to potentially ready my Irelia early and hide her onto Rockfall Path by going over their unit and kind of safeguarding me from a punish where usually Rengar would come in, slap my Irelia when I'm tapped out, and then if I get charmed, if I have a GA or something and then I get charmed, it's over. Whereas in this situation, I could put my Irelia on here and just kind of tap out and not worry about too much if they don't have like a bunch of stuff in base potentially to threaten her. This also works with Celicorn where you can kind of hide, well, basically you can hide any units is the thing. But I'm mostly speaking of Irelia because that popped up quite often. But even hiding a Celicorn on there, not having to worry about Rengar coming through. Same thing with like the Vex 4. Same thing with Scuttlecrab, very important in that matchup, where I've actually lost games where I walk up with Scuttlecrab, when they're tapped out just to get a point, and then they untap and they go, okay, I'm just going to Rengar your Scuttlecrab. And I'm like, yeah, that's defending for 8 now, and I lost my Scuttlecrab, and I lost my Scuttlecrab, they score a point, now I have to deal with the Rengar with potentially Zanya's hidden. It's kind of a disaster. So most of the time, I guess if they can do Rengar on their turn and it's actually a good play, you probably should not move up Scuttlecrab. But I can do that on Rockfall Path. So it's really good. This battlefield's been amazing. I played against Kha'Zix as well. Really good against Kha'Zix. Like amazing against Kha'Zix. It's also fairly relevant in a bunch of matchups where they might want to stack units at some point. Doesn't happen often, but can. I don't have some off the top of my head. Actually, LeBlanc hates this battlefield. If you control their other battlefield and they're forced to go here to conquer, they can't activate the legend. It's really, really, really good. Only downside for us is you can't hide a Tide Turner on here, so be careful with that. But it's kind of funny. If your opponent is good, you actually can hide a Tide Turner on here, and they'll think it's like a Zanya's or Edge of Night if they've seen it. So that can create some great mix-up possibilities. You'd be surprised to see 2 on guard. I know I said I was going to die on that hill. And Master Yi broke my resolve because they have on guard as their legend ability. And I was like, yeah, there's no way I can just spend a card to go over one of their units that has like a guaranteed on guard on it. Like it's just like such a card advantage loss that I felt like I needed something more static, something that represents more might over the course of the game. And that's where Edge of Night came in. And I actually kind of want a second one, but yeah, that would pretty much only be for Master Yi. So yeah, Gear's really important against Master Yi, even though I played so many matches where they just steal all of it or destroy all of it, and that is so frustrating as well. But Edge of Night, since you hide it, you get immediate value of it. If they take it with Akshan, who cares, Just a really good card, honestly. This has been very good for me. So there's Rockfall Path. I actually opened with this against Master Yi. I opened with it against Kha'Zix. I opened with it against Rengar. I think I would have opened with it against LeBlanc as well. Not sure. Like maybe Hall's still better. And then I go Hall going second again in those matchups. Targon's Peak going first. Otherwise, I just use Rockfall Path going second as a neutral battlefield. Doesn't really impact my opponent much. Doesn't really impact me much. Whatever. The list. The list itself. Main deck. 2 Gusts. Do I regret 2 Gust main deck? No, not really. When I go over my run, I guess I'll explain more on how impactful this was. I don't think it was like that necessary to have 2 in the main deck. Could have easily been 1. Could have been 0, honestly. If I was only focused on Master E, I'd probably cut both of these. I'd play... Well, I'll go over this after, actually, when I go over suggestions for the list. But let's talk about the list itself for now. So 2 Gust, really good in the meta, I think. Helps you come back on tempo if you lose die roll, because you get to open like Crab into Gust. So that's really, really, really strong. So I wanted to have 2 to have that consistency of finding it more often than the 1 of. And again, the tempo gain from this is incredible. Worst case scenario, you're probably gusting your own Scuttle Crab to draw another card. So that's fine. You can also gust Tide Turner, reuse Tide Turner pretty good. Some rare cases where you can gust your Celicorn if it's a slow enough match. Has happened to me. So yeah, I think Gust is just really good. It can also bait out, well, not against Master E. Like if you go into a showdown and you force them to pump something and you react with Gust, that can be absolutely devastating, but doesn't really work against Master E because they have the +2 built in. So yeah, this has been... Gust overall has been really good over the course of the weekend for me, but I'm not sure you would need 2, if any, in the main deck. I kind of still like it, but again, if you're mostly focused on Master E and Aurora, 2 of the worst matchups that we can face, these 2 cards aren't super impactful in the main deck. 2 Charm Classic, this is normal. All the normal stuff I'm gonna pass on, but Flash, a card that a lot of people are actually cutting, and I think they are incorrect. I tried to cut Flash, but every time I do, I miss it so much. I think this card is just way too versatile to cut. It does something that nothing else can do. Like, if I put a Not So Fast, that accomplishes something very different, even though Flash can kind of act as a Not So Fast as well. So it's kind of like, it's not as good as Not So Fast when Not So Fast is good, but the fact that it has other uses makes it way more valuable, I think. So the versatility is the key for this card. There are matchups like Diana where we're trying not to stay on a battlefield. Like they're going back to base often, or they're just taking a turn off to develop when they're on pair point tempo. And I want to be doing the same. So most of the time I might have like a Stellacorn in base with a 2 cost unit. I'll move both up. I do not want to stay on the battlefield. Flash out during their turn. Draw another card to Stellacorn. It's just really, really good. Other scenarios with Flash include like your opponent trying to contest your Irelia. You play like a Discipline. They do like a punch first or something, and then you're like, okay, I'm out. Flash. So it's so many scenarios where this card is going to be good. It's very, very rarely bad. Also, another situation is you can actually use this to ready a unit in base. It's kind of weird. Actually, I'm going to go over that. I'm planning a tips and tricks video, version 2.0 for Unleashed, so look forward to that. Should be coming before Hartford. I'll try to do it because I feel like it's really relevant information. But yeah, 2 GA, 1 Zhonya's. I really wanted 3 gears to protect my Irelia with. I think 2 GA, 1 Zhonya's is generally correct over like 1 GA, 2 Zhonya's. But the 1 GA, 2 Zhonya's is probably better into exactly Master E. I think otherwise I'd rather have the GA because the fact that you can ready with this is huge. The +1 might is huge. I just value this a lot more overall in a wider variety of matchups. But I do think Zhonya's has some matchups that are where it's a little bit better. So depends on your matchup spread. I think this is probably better into matchups that can bounce your stuff a lot as well. Like maybe into Diana is better. I don't know. It's kind of tough to say because usually you can counter their Star-Crossed. But yeah, I think it's interchangeable. Just do whatever feels best if you're going to play this list. If you'd rather have 2 Zanyas, just go with the 2 Zanyas. 3 Crab, 3 Tide Turner. Not much to say. I think this is pretty standard. I think Crab's super broken. I think Tide Turner is super broken. Like, I kind of wish I could play a Lonely Poro as well, but there's no room. That's really about it. That's probably the only consideration. It's like a Lonely Poro somewhere, but can't really cut these. They're just way too good. Hiding Tide Turner is just so good as well. So protecting Stellacorn with this, being able to gank on your turn where your unit's ready on one battlefield, Tide Turner go to the other side. Super solid. So yeah, not so fast ×1. Kind of wanted to. There's just no space for it. Really good against Elder Dragon. Really good against Diana. There's a lot of targeting spells. Really good in the mirror. Not so good against Yi. Actually kind of good against Yi because of Akshan. So it's not bad against Yi. But I don't really want to see 2 of this at any point during game 1. Most of the time. So kind of happy with 1. 2 Ride the Wind. Probably never go to 1. Never go to 3. It's just really good card. Allows you to scam some games. Allows you to protect your units. Kind of like a flash. 3 Boots. Tried 2 for a while. Tried 2 plus Heart of Dark Eyes because Mastery was kicking my ass. And yeah, then I just realized like, no, I'm not going to tunnel vision on Mastery. Like basically, the reason this list looks so clean is because I was like, okay, I'm not going to tunnel vision on the bad matchups. I'm just going to go in with a very solid list that's just good into almost everything. And then I'll just have like my more specific cards for those bad matchups in the sideboard. Obviously, I didn't expect that many Mastery in day 2. I think I just maybe I should have played Mastery to realize just how strong the deck is and how little preparation you need to play the deck to perform. So what caught me off guard was just how many players just kind of picked up the deck and did well. Because of how simple it is. It probably is the easiest deck to play in Riftbound right now to perform with. But yeah, so a little bit of a miscalculation. Sideboard 3rd Gust, really important going 2nd. I think this card is just super crucial for regaining tempo, as I mentioned earlier. 2nd, not so fast for Elder Dragon, for Diana. Rebuke for Mastery. This card is amazing against Mastery. They usually don't have not so fast. They punch first, you rebuke, GG. Vex Cheerless, amazing into Mastery as well. This has won me 2 matches against you, I think. By itself, basically. Partially due to my opponent's mistakes, though, so it's not... Like, that's the thing with Mastery, is that they have to make such big mistakes for you to win, usually. Usually. Like, you have to outplay them. You have to play perfectly. They can make, like, 1 or 2 mistakes during the game and still win. But if they make a big enough mistake into Vex, you will auto-win, so... And there are games where they don't find the gear hate, and you have, like, Boots and GA hate, and you're just gonna win as well, so... There are a few conditions for you to win that matchup. 2 Adapt, 1 Rake. Aurora needs to be teched for Pro's board, especially with little to do in the main deck, so... Yeah, 3, really good against Azir as well. Has been really good into some Victor. I played against a blue Victor, which is kind of weird. They were playing a bunch of gold tokens and just had Adaptatron. It's pretty good. 3rd Starcross for Aurora. And that is about it. So, what would I change if we assume that the next regional I theoretically would be going to, which I'm not going to one until Barcelona, but let's assume I was going to Hartford. And I expected exactly the same metagame that happened in Utrecht. I would cut a Gust. Maybe I'd cut both Gusts, because I don't really like the idea of having 1 Gust in the main deck. So what I would do is I would play a Switcheroo. I would maybe, this I'm not too sure about, maybe I would put a 4-cost Vex in the sideboard and add a 5-cost Vex in the main deck. Kind of like that idea, because again, against Mastery, this card is good, but this card is better. So I'd have a Switcheroo. I'd have a potential Vex Cheerless here instead of 1 Vex Apathetic that would go on the board. let's say I move the second gust to the board. I'd play a Rebuke. So I'd have a Switcheroo, a Rebuke, Vex Cheerless, Vex Apathetic in sideboard. I would probably move a Starcross to the sideboard as well. Wait, do I have enough cards here? So I add... Okay, wait. Basically, what am I cutting from the list, period? I have to map this out because it's kind of confusing since I'm not actually building the deck. Maybe I should just build it. Okay, so I built the deck really quick just to get an idea of how it might look like. But yeah, I think I would build it something like this, where we actually do have the one gust in the main. We have Switcheroo, Rebuke, and Starcross. And then I'm only going to have 2 Starcross. Now, one thing to note is 3 Starcross I think is only useful into Diana and exactly Aurora. So I don't mind having only 2. I think Mastery being way more popular than Aurora in general is a reason to have more tech pieces into that matchup. So maybe there's that to think about. If we do want to be a little bit better into Aurora, maybe I would just cut... Actually, I'm not sure what I would cut. Would it be the second Cheerless? It's a possibility that second Cheerless is just too much. And you just go third Starcross. Or second Rebuke. If you really hate Mastery, then you need 2 Cheerless. You go 2 Cheerless, Switcheroo, Rebuke, Rebuke. That is really good. I do have the 2 Zanyas. I don't know if it's better, but just wanted to put that in there. Oh, maybe I'd cut the Flash, actually. Just to make space. It is possible that we could do that. I could cut the Flash, play second Gust main deck, maybe, or even play, like... What if I just played a second Starcross main deck? What if I play 2 Rebuke main deck? Is that, like, overkill? Probably. That's probably overkill. I would say if you really want the space for second Rebuke, like, I like the Flash, but if you wanted the space for second Rebuke, you just go cut Flash, play either second Not So Fast main, second Gust, second Starcrossed. So that would be that. That would free up a sideboard slot for the second Rebuke. And you have 2 Starcross, 2 Rebuke. Doesn't sound too bad to me. So that's that. Let's dive into my tournament run. So, round 1 bye, as usual. Thankfully, I had a bye in my back pocket, because actually these skirmishes don't really line up well with... it didn't line up well with this tournament. So, round 1 bye. Round 2, I sit down, and actually, before that, I have to mention that my pre-RQ, the Friday tournament, was catastrophic. I went 1-3. I played against Mastery, Aurora, Mastery, and then, like, I don't remember what my third matchup was, but I won that one. I lost all 3 bad matchups, and I was like, I am so cooked. I was not feeling confident at all. So, main tournament starts, round 2, for me, round 1, basically. I sit down, opponent reveals Misfortune. And, you know, going off of my performance the prior day, the disaster, I was not feeling great. I was actually kind of stressed out, but I was kind of ready to accept any outcome against Aurora. I had prepared myself mentally. If I sit down across from Aurora, I'm like, it is what it is, you know? It's just, I'm at the mercy of how they draw and how they play. Thankfully, they did not find Aurora in game 2. In game 1, I was just really lucky. I went really fast. I think I lost die roll. So I lose die roll and I'm already not doing too well. But I found Defy for Catalysts in game 1, and I found 2 Defies for 2 Catalysts in game 2. So I got really lucky with my draws. I went fast, got my points. They did not Aurora on turn 3 because I defied the Catalyst. So it was a little bit too late for them in the first game. And in game 2, they did not find Aurora, and they made a mistake. They challenged my Irelia at some point with their Mind Splitter equipped with like double shovel at 11. I think my Irelia was sitting at 7, so all I did was, I actually didn't have that many buffs in hand. I just did On Guard plus Ready, so I gained 4, and I managed to trade with their only unit, which was Mind Splitter, that they had to hardcast because they didn't find Aurora. So yeah, honestly, went really well. Got really lucky. They got unlucky, and they made a mistake. So I end up winning. And from that point on, I am actually feeling really good because I finally got a win in a bad matchup. So my day's starting off strong with a win, and it's a bad matchup. It kind of put me back on track compared to how I was feeling before that with my my pre-RQ performance. Round 3, I sit down and they reveal Jhin. I lose the die roll, but Jhin, kind of like Kai'Sa, is a very good matchup for the deck. But I actually almost lost. This was a 2-1 win for me. Actually, yeah, the Aurora was 2-0. I guess that was obvious the way I described it. But yeah, Jhin, 2-1 for me. I could not find Defy in the first 2 games. I don't remember which game I lost, but it was just a game where I couldn't counter anything, and I couldn't find any buffs either. So I think my Irelia actually died, which is kind of crazy and unlikely. But I was just playing with what I had in hand, and they were playing pretty clean as well. So it was not the best of Jhin, if you guys are wondering, because there was a best of Jhin that went 10-3, which is an absurd record for Jhin. Deck looks pretty clean too, but yeah, it was actually way more difficult because of the way I was drawing. But overall, still ended up on top, thankfully. Round 4 is another Aurora deck. So I sit down. It's Lee Sin, and I'm like, this got to be Aurora, and obviously it was. So 2-0. I won die roll, went really, really fast, and green Aurora decks are much easier because they don't have as much draw. They can't find Aurora consistently. So no Aurora in game 1. They had to like hard cast a Dead Bloom. And I was like, okay, it's like that doesn't really do anything against me. I have so many buffs, I can just go over that. I actually managed to play around that as well, because I was actually playing around Rengar, so I didn't move up at some point because I figured if they actually had a Rengar, I'd get wrecked. So it was playing around Rengar, and I managed to play around Dead Bloom as well, coincidentally, because they had to play Dead Bloom in base after that to develop it. So yeah, pretty easy game. I think this player is a friend of SebiQ as well, a player who got second place in Bologna when I was in top 8, so that was pretty funny. So that was pretty cool. Very nice guy. Said he didn't have many reps in set 3, so decided to like go for Metal Card Aurora deck, and I think that was the correct call. Unfortunately, I don't think they got it. Round 5. Round 5 is an interesting one. I played against June. This is a previous Best of Kazakhs winner. So I knew the game was going to be tough. They played really, really clean. Really pushed me to my limit. I think I was playing really well as well. So honestly, throughout this entire tournament, I will say it right now, I think this is some of the best Riftbound I've ever played. So I'm really happy with that. I think I only made like one big mistake, and it was in this match, so I'll go over that. But in a way, the mistake was actually kind of fine because June ended up winning the Best of Kazakhs again. So I'm really happy. About that. So yeah, I lose die roll. I lose 1-2. We go to time actually, and game 1 was just really close, but I managed to find the Vex Apathetic. So this is where my decision to have 2 Vex Apathetic kind of pays off big time, as it's something that really shuts down Kazakhs. And that was just a really clean game 1 for me. Game 2, I think I got rolled. Yeah, I think I got dominated. They had the 2-cost unit that charms you in and stuff. It was nightmare. So game 3, I am in a really good position with my Vex Apathetic on one side and my Irelia in base. And I think they only have Vex 4-cost in base. 4 mana up, 3 cards in hand. I was pretty certain at this point that I'd probably have at least a Star-Crossed in hand, so I had Defy for that. I move in with Irelia, conquer battlefield, the other side, and then I charm their Vex in. I think my Irelia is like a 6 or actually probably 7 might at this point, maybe 6. Charm Vex in. I'm like, okay, if they punch first, fine, I have Defiant Dance. They punch first. Well, actually, first what's funny is I charm. They go, I'm sure you're playing around the Star-Crossed. I'm sure you would have played around that. So they go, okay. After like a minute of thinking, punch first. And I'm like, okay, Defiant Dance. And then I see them tap a rune and recycle 2 orange, and I'm like, oh my god. And they have second punch first, which absolutely annihilates me. I was not playing around exactly that combination of cards, and I have to like ride the wind my Irelia out of the battlefield, which is just absurd. And they score a point, and then we go to time, and the only thing I can do at that point is go for a tie, but I actually misplayed on the final turn going for the tie. I had exact damage to break their hold by I charmed their purple Kazakhs to the other side, or their purple Vex to the other side, where they had a Kazakhs and like a one, the guy who grabs you. And I would have 11 might, so I go up, I conquer with Irelia, and I have Ride the Wind in hand. And I have a Vex Apathetic in base. So if I Ride the Wind my Irelia, she has exact damage. I think she would be at 7, and my Vex would be at 4. It would be 11 to 11, and we would trade, and it would force a tie. But I move my Vex in first, and then I go, okay, Ride the Wind Irelia into the battlefield. And then June looks at me and is like, yeah, Kha'Zix gets +2. And I'm like, fuck, you're right. I haven't played enough against Kha'Zix, and I don't know why when I'm in time, this is the first time this has happened, I have problems with the pace of play. Like, I mentioned that in lead, but I just sped up for no reason. I was like, okay, 11, yeah, screw it, I'll just go for it. So I did the play like autopilot, charm, move up Vex, Ride the Wind. And I just totally forgot about Kha'Zix. But again, as I said, in a way, this ended up being a kind of great thing for June, at least. I'm really happy, in a way, that they won best of because of that, I think, possibly. I guess it's not necessarily, like, maybe if we tied, they would have had like an easier road to best of. Who knows? It's impossible to say. But obviously this was not great news for me, as this was my first loss. But I didn't take it that hard at all. I was just like, you know what? I made a mistake. I haven't played against purple Kha'Zix at all, basically. So, of course, I was going to miss that. So, yeah. Got blown out by double punch first. Was really unlikely, as they hadn't really drawn many cards earlier. Didn't expect it. But yeah. Round 6, I play against Annie. I win die roll. I go 2-1. Game 3. So actually game 2, we were on Arena's Greatest. They missed their trigger. I give it to them. I don't know what the ruling is on this anymore. I don't know if it's mandatory or not, but I give it to them. I give them a few Targon triggers. I get rolled game 2, obviously. So I get dominated game 2. I think I dominated game 1. We go game 3. Game 3, I'm in a decent spot, but I actually made like a weird play where I star-crossed their purple Rengar in reaction to like a gust or something, and then my opponent looks at me and is like, you know I can replay this, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Can I take the Starcross back? And they're like, yeah, that's fine. You gave me a bunch of stuff earlier. So thankfully, I don't know. I guess I was not used to playing as Red Rengar. I forgot that it's not ambush. Like they could just replay it to base. So yeah, I was allowed to take back my play, and then I managed to win that match. So it was a really good time against my opponent. I'm glad that I'm really thankful that they let me roll that back. So yeah, sometimes it pays off to just be nice to your opponent, I guess, or be like, because I don't know, the Arena's Greatest point is like if I win because of that, I wouldn't feel that great about it. But a part of me knows that if I was in a situation where maybe I was like live for top 8, maybe I would not give it back. It's kind of hard to know, because when the stakes are high, I think I might not let them take the point. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. But for day 1, I was just like, okay, I'll just play the game. I want to make day 2 playing as clean as possible with actual games, you know, not non-games because of Arena's Greatest being missed or something, or Targon's Peak. So yeah, round 7. Round 7 begins. Master E, my first Master E. Got really lucky in day 1. Only faced 1. Unfortunately, it ends in a tie. I won die roll. So game 1, it was a really, really difficult game. We spent a lot of time on it. I think we'd spent like 25 minutes on it. I was behind really quick for some reason. Oh yeah, I think I got Poro first mated. No. Actually, no. This was a player, a really nice player actually. Really had a lot of fun playing against them. But yeah, this was the one where they were playing Forge of Fluff, and they had a bunch of equipment in their main deck. They had Trinity Force, so it's kind of a weird game where I had to like fight off Trinity Force. It was kind of brutal. I actually made like some really good plays to kind of come back into the game and managed to win it from behind. So that was really good. I was on a roll. Game 2, I get demolished. Classic against Mastery. When they're going first, it just feels impossible. If they have the Poro into first mate on Star Spring, which I think is what happened. I didn't write it down. Maybe that's what happened. Game 3, really, really close. We go to time. I'm losing 7-3. I bring it back to 7-7, and I'm holding for the win on both sides, and it's last turn, so yeah, it doesn't matter, right? But yeah, unfortunately, we were both in tough spots during multiple games in this match, so we ended up taking more time to think, and that did kind of bite me in the end. But oh well, it's fine. Stuff like that happens. And then my final round for the day is against Diana. And this one I lose die roll, and actually this match is extremely difficult because I am not drawing very well until the very end. Like at the very end of game 3 is where I start drawing well. But it was actually really difficult. My opponent played really well. Made a few mistakes that I really took advantage of. Because they did mention to me that they were tired. I had a great time playing a lot of matches in this tournament. This was one of them. Really nice opponent as well. So game 1, I get destroyed. They had one die roll, open with perfect curve with Raven Bloom, and then like Wei comes in, I get like absolutely demolished. Game 2, they make the mistake of going for an early hold with Vex Apathetic. I managed to break it, and they have no more units in hand. So they just have to pass turn for like 2 turns. It's pretty crazy situation. In game 3 is where I drew really awkward hand. Like I had like one Scuttle Crab, and I had Starcross as well, but I lost my Scuttle Crab because I felt like I had to go for the points. And the only reason I won that game is because I made they opened up a line of play for me with the Starcross that I would not have had. They had 8 runes up, and I knew their hand from the crab, and it was not very good. It was really not very good. They had a Wei on board as well. They had like triple Moonfall, Starcross, not even Stupefy. I think it was something else. Like they had a few like dead cards as well. So I'm really far behind. There's like a Raven Boom on one side. There's a Diana in base. They move up Diana to conquer the other side. They reveal a Vex that they actually keep on top after some thinking. And their plan was Starcross Irelia, move in with Wei, draw Vex, play Vex, lock me out of the game, basically. And that would have worked if I didn't also have Starcross. So what they go for it. They go for Starcross. I think I have like 3 up or something, exactly. They go for Starcross. I Starcross my own Irelia in response to that because they target their Ravenbloom student in my Irelia. I go Starcross Irelia Hui, and then their play is dead because they only have 4 runes left. Because they paid the one for Dinah as well. Actually, maybe they had 7 runes. I don't remember, but they definitely didn't have enough to replay well. I don't know what happened, but they had 4 runes left, and they had Vex on top. So they were going to draw that next turn, which is horrible since I can, I think I managed to, like, since I had a gear in play, on my turn, I replay Irelia, gear up, go break in their Diana hold. Oh yeah, and then they activate Diana, put Vex on the bottom. I remember that. So that's what happened. Really fortunate. allowed me to turn a very disastrous game back into my favor with one move, and I win from there. So that's my day one. Pretty good. Pretty good luck on matchups. One big mistake that cost me a lot. One problem with time, forcing a draw against Master E. Or I guess resulting in a draw, not forcing. Forcing a draw would have been against the Kazakhs, where I could have forced the draw, but I didn't. So I failed to do that. And then we enter. So after day one, I was really relieved because I failed in Lille to get day two. So I kind of felt not super confident. Didn't want to flop again. I really wanted to prove myself. So I did that. I got day two at 6-1-1, which is a good record, to be honest. So day two, this is where everything kind of goes downhill. I start off the day feeling pretty good. Sit down, Master E, lose die roll. Not a good sign, but I actually end up winning 2-1. So going with the games, game one, Star Spring, Poro first mate. Nothing I could do. Game two, I actually managed to take over the mid game with Vex Cheerless. That makes my spells cost less and their spells cost more. It was really good. In game three, the same thing happens, except I am very far behind. I think I'm at 4 points, and I felt like I had to like slam a Vex Apathetic on top of my Vex Cheerless on one battlefield. I think my Irelia was dead. Yeah, I had to like slam Irelia earlier. She died to Charm. I had a Vex Cheerless move up. They had moved back everything. I conquer. I play Vex Apathetic. I'm at 9 might on that side, 0 on the other. They're at 6 points. They're everything in base, 6 points. They have like Yi in base, like 2 Poros, and like a crab. And I'm pretty sure they have Rengar in hand as well. So that's why I played Apathetic. Now, the correct decision for them is obviously to just send literally everything. Well, first to send the crab in. The crab has to go in. That's the correct play. At 3 up. At 3 up at this point. 3 energy. They move with the crab. I gust the crab. So they have no information on my hands, which is really important. That was a correct decision for me, 100%. So now from this board state, their correct decision is to just literally send everything on the other battlefield, and they have Rengar up. So even if I try to attack it, even if Rengar is stunned, it's still a body that's defending. So it will push me back and they'll hold for the win. They'll go to 7, they'll go to 8 on their turn. That's like a guaranteed win at that point, I think. But they decide to challenge my Vex Cheerless with 2 up, which most of the time would have worked, except I had a rebuke. So after like 5 minutes of thinking, actually probably a little bit less, like 3 to 4 minutes, they go, okay, I'm going to punch first my Poro, move in with E, the Poro, another Poro. I think there was a Rengar in base as well, actually. Wait a minute. Was there a Rengar in base as well? All I know is I managed to stave off their hold. So I rebuke their Poro. That's -7 might. I think there was a Rengar as well. Yeah, there was. Because otherwise it wouldn't make sense for me to use Defiant Dance. I had Defiant Dance as well. So rebuke Poro. They have Rengar, Yi, and Poro remaining, which is 12. I'm at 9. Oh, also, keynote. We're on Abandoned Hall as well, so it's even worse for them to try to challenge me on that. So I already have like a +1 from the Gust, and then Rebuke gives me another +1, and then I think it actually was not Defiant Dance. I think it was Discipline. Because of Abandoned Hole, I managed to go over. So it would be 9 + 2 from those. I go to 11, and then Discipline pushes me over the top. That's it, 100%. So they kill my Vex Apathetic. They have nothing in base. They can't conquer other side anyways. Wait, did I have... Oh, actually I had a crab on the other battlefield. I just remembered that. That's how I got to 4. And then, since my Vex Cheerless is actually at like 6 or 7, I don't remember. But they can't really Rengar. They had a Rengar in hand. So once they kill the Apathetic, they can Rengar. But they can't Rengar over my Vex Cheerless, so they go to Rengar the other side. And then I just draw boots and kind of win the game from there. If they had just stacked the other side with Rengar, E, 2 Poros, and Rengar from hand, and Punch First from hand, there's no way I'm winning that. So Very fortunate. And you can see just how this really illustrates how difficult the matchup is. For me to win that, I need them to make such a monumental misplay that it's so unlikely. Like, it's just so unlikely to happen. So, yeah, that's just how bad the matchup is. It's crazy. Round 10, Irelia mirror match. This was a really spicy list. I love this list. I love seeing really spicy lists. There's like sneaky deckhand sideboard. There's Arenas Greatest in the deck. There's Switcheroo main deck. There's no GA, no Zanyas. A lot of interesting thing. No crab, just 3 Poros and like I think, oh yeah, there's Overzealous fan as well. Really cool list. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on that list, but both of us played well. I actually figured out in game 3 that I had to keep the gusts in, which is usually not the case, and they absolutely carried my game 3. It was crazy. The difference me keeping the gusts in the deck made was like insane. Early I gust their Stellacorn, they discipline, I defy discipline, bumps the Stellacorn back to hand. Huge tempo move. And towards the end of the game, they move up like a 2-cost. No, they're defending with the 2-cost unit, I think. I move up, they play a buff, I gust there, something like that. I got 2 gusts off basically during the game. And both of them were absolutely incredible. And they basically won me the game. Like solo, by themselves. So yeah, that was good. I lost die roll, by the way. That match ended 2-1 for me. Round 11, Master E. I won die roll. I lose 1-2. Game 1, I Rockfall Path. Obviously, Irelia, a bunch of equipment. They don't find any equipment hate, so I just kind of dominate. Game 2, I have the worst hand in... Like, it's not actually the worst hand ever, but it's very close. I have absolutely nothing in hand except for Gust. So they play Poro. I pass. I pass with Gust open. They move up. I Gust. They discipline, and then they conquer. They play Pit Rookie in base. At that point, it's over. At that point, I think my next turn is like play Boots, pass, or like it's that, or I play Irelia. I don't remember. I think I actually played Irelia because there's no way I'm winning the game otherwise. I play Irelia, she gets charmed. Something like that. Is that or Boots? But both lines lose the game anyways because they're going to be way too stable after that point. So I decided to gamble on Irelia, I think. I can't remember. I wish I had written it down, but it is what it is. Game 3, I have a decent start. I have Crab, but literally no other units. So turn 2, I have nothing to develop, so I don't even go to conquer Targon's Peak. I actually go to the other side, and I pass with like Gust up, and I slowly lose the game. Like, I just slowly lose ground because I just passed a turn. Like, you cannot pass a turn against Mastery. It just feels like that's not possible. So me passing a turn in 2 games just seals the deal. And to be fair, like, the way I was playing, with slightly better luck, actually these matchups are really close. The Mastery matchups. I think I'm playing them as well as I can. It's just I also need to draw really well because otherwise I can't make up for the fact that their legend is so strong and their battlefields are so strong, like Starspring. So yeah, really tough. I just slowly lose ground until I just kind of lose the game. And then round 12, we have another Mastery. At this point, I'm joking to my friends. I'm like, there is no shot I'm hitting another Mastery. And of course, I had another Mastery. And what's funny is there's another Irelia player that I met over there that every time I was hitting a Mastery, they were also hitting a Mastery like 2 tables next to me. It was so funny. And we were like looking at each other every time, like laughing. It was so crazy how many Masteries were in day 2. It's just absurd. So this one, I won die roll. Again, Rockfall Path. Domination game 1. Game 2 and 3, they draw so much gear hate. It is insane. I play a gear, it gets action. I play a gear, it gets raked. I play another gear, it gets stolen by action. I'm like, and the worst part about it is that if I had drawn a hand that was gear light, because I can't really sideboard out all my gears because I really need the boots and stuff. If I didn't draw those gears, their hand would be so dead. But because it lined up perfectly with my draws, because I ended up drawing so many gears and I had to play them to actually, you know, keep up with the General Yi might, I didn't really have a choice. So I played with what the game was giving me, and I just could not do it. I just could not do anything. So the final game is kind of a disaster. Again, I open Tide Turner, move up to Targon, slam Vex Apathetic. I have Boots in hand. They open First Mate, which is probably the best thing they could open with, actually. Well, I guess maybe not necessarily. But yeah, I'm in a really good spot. Turn 3 I play Boots, Conquer with Vex other side. Boots get stolen. They have Yin base. I think they actually managed to kill my Vex in this spot. No, maybe not. I don't remember, but I don't have many buffs. I only have gear. So every time I play something, it gets stolen. It gets destroyed. I can't actually fight. I can't actually fight the board. It's really rough. So I'm just losing ground until eventually we end up in a board state where I actually have a hold on one side, which will allow me to go to 7, and then I would conquer to 8. And I have a Gust in hand, and their only 2 units in base are Rake and First Mate. If they go for the trade with the Rake and my Tide Turner, that's fine. I'm totally okay with that. They will not be able to conquer because I can just Gust. But they have like almost no cards in hand. I know they don't have any more buffs because we fought before. They have a Pit Rookie. They Pit Rookie, First Mate. I can't Gust anymore. It's a disaster. So First Mate was truly like the devastating card in this game. First Mate plus Pit Rookie, I guess. So that kind of sealed the deal. The fact that I had the +1 buff on the unit, that also meant it was more difficult for me to conquer the First Mate afterward. So, and then Akshan having a GA on it is like catastrophic. So, is what it is. At that point, I know I'm cooked for top 64, which was my goal. So I'm just like, okay, whatever, let's play last round. Last round's a Victor. I'm like, whatever, I don't care too much anymore. But they revealed blue Victor, and I was like, okay, maybe this is definitely better. I was getting cooked by Victor like the entire week before coming here, just practicing as Victor's devastating. But yeah, they opened blue Victor, and their deck is kind of weird. Like it's apparently it's a blue Victor list that just plays like more controlling. It's definitely a better matchup for me. I find Vex Apathetic to lock their sprites in their Vi. I find a bunch of Stellacorns. I find a bunch of Defies. I win the match 2-1. So I think, yeah, game 1 I got destroyed. I had like a really bad hand. And then game 2 and 3, I just found everything. I had like Stellacorn, Vex on curve, or Vex afterwards, and it was just pretty simple. Not much to say about it. So all in all, I end 88th, and I have the Vex playmat, which is pretty cool, I guess. Kind of wish I'd gotten a little bit more, but honestly, really proud of what I accomplished over the course of the weekend. I don't feel like I could have done that much better. Maybe, obviously, like forcing the tie against June maybe would have set me up better, but there's no way to know in Riftbound, like, or in card games in general. There's no way to know if I had tied in that round, would my entire bracket path be harder, easier, the same, like same difficulty? Like nobody can know. Maybe it would have been worse for me to tie, and then I just don't even make day 2. Like that was a possibility as well. So who knows? All I know is I was playing really well. I think the list was good. It's unfortunate I got unlucky. Like, yeah, the games against Master E, I don't think I could have done much better. It's just like, with what the game was giving me, it felt like even though I was playing really well and I was finding like some weird lines to win some of the Mastery matchups, I just couldn't do it when my opponents were also playing well. So it was just really, really tough day 2 after a pretty solid start in day 1. So yeah, that's going to do it for my tournament recap. But before I leave, let's take a look at the best of Irelia lists from this tournament. 21st place, Comeback King. Really, really interesting list. We do not have sideboard, unfortunately. But maybe they posted it somewhere. I feel like they'd update it. But I guess I'll just take a look at the main deck, because this is where we can see a card that I actually think is pretty good. I think Rasa, well, you have to have for a Traveling Merchant, but I think Rasa's pretty good, in theory. I like the idea of having a 6 might base unit that comes in for like very cheap, and that you can like kind of conquer with when your Irelia's dead, or even to reinforce a battlefield in the late game. It's definitely a good idea. Now, the problem is that you're going to have to cut some stuff to play the Rasa. And you're going to have to play a 2-drop that I think is worse than both of these. So the sacrifices you're making are definitely relevant. Also, you have to play Zon Warrens, which is kind of a disastrous battlefield. Because it forces you to play Abandoned Hall going second. So, but this is definitely a cook, though. 3-stack deck, 1 Starcross, 1 Rebuke. I think this is what I should have been playing as well. 1 Ride the Wind. I don't know about that, but again, I guess since their plan is to like cycle through the deck faster than me with the stack deck and stuff, so having 1-ofs makes a lot more sense in this list than it does in mine. Same thing with the 2 Boots, 2 GA. Makes a lot of sense with the way the deck is constructed. So I just think this is really well thought out. So maybe give it a try if you're interested in how the list looks. I'm not sure it's better than playing a standard Irelia list, but it's hard for me to say without actually playing this. But it just looks like it would be solid. Like, I have no issues with the deck building here at all. Just a very peculiar list. I wish I could see the sideboard, but maybe we'll find that eventually and you guys can copy that, I guess. Maybe it's on Twitter somewhere. Either way, long video. I am so tired. I didn't sleep that well going into day 2. Either way, thanks for watching. Good luck in Hartford if you're going to that tournament. And I'll see you in the next one. I'll try to get my tips and tricks video out before that tournament, hopefully. But yeah.